This data is not cheap. When you generate that data, it is that data which will now be authenticated by internationally recognized geoscientific bodies that will now be put on the global market. And that's what is going to attract investors. Investors in big players in the mining industry in the world will now be interested when they see your data and they can determine the amount of risk that you can take, given the fact that in location A, there is, say, lithium. And now they know the quantity that is there. They can then do an arithmetic. If that will sustain their investment, if that will make it worthwhile, then they come. If it will not make it worthwhile, of course they won't come. And that's why you have the incidences of artisanal, illegal, and very small scale ones that don't dig deep into the ground where the massive ones are because of the technology required, because of the expenditure. Capital layout is very expensive. So you cannot begin to extrapolate the kind of percentage contribution to the GDP when you have not generated that data. So part of the fundamentals of this reform program that have unfolded now is hinged on generation of data, and it's part of the transformation agenda. So we have to generate that data, and I'm going to propose to the Federal Executive Council very shortly a memo covering all factors and variables surrounding the generation of this critical data that we will market in the global market to attract foreign investors. However, I did also make a comparative analysis if you go back to the text. And I said that in the 60s, this sector contributed 4.5%. And by last year, it had dropped to less than 2%. Now, because attention had shifted away from it, there was no meaningful development of that sector to keep increasing the contribution to the GDP. So there now, henceforth, there is a renewed attention, a renewed focus, and renewed hope. What that entails logically is that when we put in all the factors necessary, the contribution of this sector to the GDP is envisaged to be more than those other African countries that I mentioned: Senegal, Mauritania, 20%, 24%. Our target will be 50% and more contribution to the GDP. You have to generate the relevant data and then attract the investors. So you can't start by talking to investors before you have what investors require. You'll be talking and blowing hot air. The investors require geoscientific data that is relevant and significant to their business enterprise. So if you haven't gotten that, you can't begin to talk to investors. But I can assure you, those investors are waiting in the wings for us. A lot of them have been making contact, even since I got to this ministry a few days back. A lot of them have been making contact with us, and they are very, very eager to come on board immediately to get the relevant data.